Yes, people, we're clocking in. We're just checking in, getting the stream up and running. Yes, so we're getting the stream up and running. So, watching a very, very nice game. 17 minutes in. No, I'm just checking in as usual. Miss out on that huge win for the Germans over the debutant Curacao from the Caribbean, smallest country to make it to the World Cup. But we're here watching the Japanese and the Dutch boys. Two very good chances, coming from both teams as well. Sam Marlan, easily could have put that one in the back of the net, but it was a very good save from Suzuki. But the man from Parma stand tall in between the sticks. It's very getting edgy, it's getting edgy in the game. The Netherlands taking over the game at this moment, but there's something always about this Japanese team, level of calmness, patience, confidence of stick to their task, not get too overhype of things that they are defending too much. Yeah, so I'm looking at it where can this Netherlands team, make another run again, to the knockout round where you're looking at it. They should be good enough, to get out of the zone. You're looking at Sweden and Tunisia, the other teams that Tunisia will play Sweden in the last game in the fixtures of games that set to play today. But yeah, I think the Netherlands compete well. I think Cody Gakpo, there's something in my eye, something is in my freaking eye, man. Yeah, so I'm just saying, man, can Cody Gakpo, find another very good campaign as well, for the Netherlands team. I think he was one of the star player, in that group stage phase. I think they come up against Qatar, the team that hosts the last edition, Senegal, and also I don't remember that Senegal. I don't remember the other team, but yeah, they managed to get out of the group stage. Finish on what I think 7 points. They did it last game, and then yeah, it was Qatar. Senegal, Netherlands themselves was in that group, but finish at the quarterfinal round. Very tight knockout round game between them and the Alves Celeste Argentina, and that famous Weghorst goal that get them back into the game was a wonderful set piece by the Dutch as well. They get knocked out in penalties. Very good shot stopping from Dibu, the Argentina goalkeeper. So we are 4 years later down the line again, looking at a pretty decent Netherlands team. Yeah, yet to really capture the big title that they really want. They won the Euros, in the late 80s. Not managed to win a World Cup in their history. So let's see if a team that not many people not expecting to go all the way to the final will go there. It will take some task. Marlon will have to come at his best. You have to see Maverick type of player like Memphis Depay coming off the bench as well. But I think it's a very good team. You look at the midfield, you have Gravenbergs and Reiners, in that midfield, and just in front of Frankie de Jong. Yeah, so the other team that was in Group A with Netherlands, it was Ecuador, Qatar, and Senegal, and Netherlands finished on top. So we are in our first hydration break of the game. 0-0. Two teams created two good, decent opportunities. As you looking at my coverage, I'm looking at some of the highlights at this moment. Think it's not much to really show about. Netherlands control a lot of the stats. Can look at the stats here, where Netherlands controls 66%, but I don't think this Japanese team will face too much on who control the possession of the game. Look at shots on target. Netherlands, I think that was the Marlon shot. That's the only shot. And this is the issue with this Netherlands team as well. Over the years, the Dutch team has heavily criticized of having a lot of the ball, keep a lot of possession, make a lot of accuracy passes as well. But they fail to really break down the opposition team. And you can see hit started already where it's not so quick around the ground, but they managed, a very good job to get Marlon off, a shot in that first 15 minutes of the game. So I'm hoping the best that they can create more moments, more moments, as you can see at here. At them save regularly, a player, for the Dutch team as well. But you look at further down in the stats where 169 pass for Netherlands to Japan 84, own half Netherlands 59, Japan 30. So Japan have more touches, more passes on the ball in the opposition half than in their own half. So that tells you that this is a team that's going to make some very quick attacking punch to this Netherlands team. So they have to be careful, especially when the midfield three like Gravenberg, always want to get up front. Reiners always want to get in advanced area in that midfield position. So they're going to have to look out, because this Japanese team, they are very good in transition. They're very quick and they're very disciplined and structured team as well. So 5 touches in the box for the Dutch team and 3 for the Japanese team. No offside as yet. The duels are looking. Yes, 9 duels, 1. That's 59. That's 56%. Yes, so out of 9 out of 11 for the Dutch team and 7 for the Japanese team. It's much even game, man. Successful dribbles, 4 to the Dutch team and 1 to the Japanese team. So it's much even of a game. 25 minutes in, and we are continuing, post first hydration break for the game. Expect to see a lot more. Expect to see a lot more high efficient plays from both teams, as I think if this game continue, to be 0-0, going into the last 30, 20 minutes of this game, it will go into the Japanese nick of time where those moments are the moments that, this Japanese team will strive on as well. So let's see, what will happen. But looking at the Japanese side of very skilled, organized team, to be honest, I really expect a lot, from this Japanese team, in the last group of Spain and Germany, magnificent run in that group E of last World Cup. They finished on 6 points, where Spain and Germany finished on 4, but a better goal difference for the Spaniards managed to finish second behind ahead of the German. So Japanese team, very good. So I don't think this Netherlands team will really face them much more of a even 4 years more experience of doing it at the highest level. And the players that they're playing with and the field at this moment, playing some very good top leagues, around the world. So I don't think they will be faced of too much of the possession that this Netherlands team is having. But the Japanese team started more on the front foot after the hydration break. So let's see how they can keep this momentum. It's a team that don't really want to, box the ball around. It's all about quick plays to the channel. Finding their most creative player as well. See if Kubo can get on the ball a lot. And wow. So you can see, Japan with the first half decent, opportunities. They got the ball into the Netherlands penalty box where the ball came back out and it was long over the bar. But it's something to work on. It's a stepping stone, it's a building stone for this Japanese team. But let's see how they build on this, and let's see how they get themselves back in the game where they can start to control different phases and patches of this first half and finish the first half very strong. So I think Netherlands will always want to get a goal, in this game first, because normally if you allow this Japan team to come and score, it can be a bit chaotic, for you as well. They will be as compact as possible. So let's see how this game will finish in the first 45 minutes. I really have this game to go a 1-1 draw, and I think it will be a 1-1 draw. And I think both teams will be Tunisia and Sweden as well. So looking at more likely this team will probably finish somewhere around 7 points each. Or if anything happen outside of that, it will be a very, very embarrassing result if Tunisia or Sweden can get a possible full 3 point from one of these two teams. It would be very such huge shock, even though this Sweden team, have a few individual talented player that I would like to see in this team. So let's see how they would operate later from now. But as it is, 38th minute, the Japanese team is yet to budge, this Dutch team, as the Dutch is pitching a very good tent inside of the Japanese half, but don't allow this team to hit it on the counter. It can be very dangerous if you ask me. It's the time and patience. It's time and patience for this Japanese team, where it can be dangerous. When some teams panic, this Japanese team are calm. Yeah, so panic is not in their game. That's not the blueprint around this team. They are more of a calm-headed team, very experienced now. A lots of controversial calls, in some games yesterday. Lots of controversial calls. But let's see if today, we will have a clean slate, no real controversy, around game. Let's see what will happen if the referee will be as clean as possible, if the VAR members will be as clean as possible as well. So as you guys can see, man, this game, the Netherlands team is controlling vast majority of the possession. But when you look at, this Japanese team at the back, where you have players like Itu, you have Taniguchi and Watanabe as well, very experienced. That's a lot of experience right there. And the average age, for these two teams is very close, or if not the exact same as well. So they don't really have too much elder statesman in this team. Don't really have too much elder statesman in the Japanese team. More, you look at, Taniguchi, is probably more of the elder statesman in this team, who's 34-year-old, and that is it. right there. Everyone else in this Japan team is 30 or younger. Yeah. So except that one player playing in the back line, that number three, stand tall. Yeah. So he's going to be good as well, with his experience. This moment, a player that played in the Belgian Pro League for Turiden, Sen Turiden, coming from Al Rayyan in the Qatari Stars League. But yeah, I think we look at both teams who they can really get off the bench. Yeah, you have Wegor, someone that was in the last World Cup score against the Argentina team. Machinio, for the Japanese, playing for Borussia Mönchengladbach. When you look at Noah Lang, played for Galatasaray, was on loan by the Napoli team, didn't wanted by Antonio Conte, attacking players, another attacking player, Ogawa, Ogawa, for Koki Ogawa, for the Japanese team who's played him trade in the Eredivisie League. Yeah, very good, option off the bench. I want to see a player like Ito, who's playing in the Belgian Pro League as well for Genk, to get some minutes. But I just think, a player like Brabi at some point, you might see a player like Brabi and Wegors, just to give this Japanese team a bit of a intimidation, in around the box of where it matters most with set piece, direct plays and stuff like that. We know how good Wegors is as a player, he can be in the attacking box. But Memphis Depay, who's 32 years old, is still looking on as well. This moment, playing in straight in Brazil for Corinthians. So that's basically it, but players in the midfield, Coop Miners, not the best of campaign, for him as well. In the black and white old lady shirt for Juve, no goals in this campaign. He's very bad. Yeah. In the Italian Serie A, he was very bad. 0 goals for him in that race to get into the Champions League, where they fail massively as well. Justin Kluivert is there. De Roon is there as well for the Dutch team. Timber, the twin brother of Timber at Arsenal. So I think, Tanaka, another midfielder, currently playing at this moment for Leeds, was very good. Watch that game. I know he was very excellent, at Old Trafford versus Manchester United. So good players, coming off the bench for either team. Lots of options, talking about quality option. Ooh, that was a big opportunity. That was the chance from, the man that scored around 3 goals in the last World Cup, Cody Gakpo. Yeah, what the hell he was doing, man? That was a massive chance. Yeah, that was a massive chance for him. 5 games, 3 goals in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Netherlands will do some good, with those goals right now at this given moment. Will actually take one of those goals that he scored. Here we goes where the Japanese team will build again from the back, playing up that ball. One thing I really do like with this, with this Japan team, this is a team that they will suffocate themselves just by defend, and pick the moment where you think they lost a bit of a screw, in the game. They lost the game, with no control, in it as well. But the one look at time, you blink, it's a team that can hit the net, so as much as Netherlands is in very much of control of this game, they just have to be careful. Yeah, they have to be careful, man. Seeing the likes of, Van der Ven, playing in more advanced role in that back four as well. not the position that he played for Tottenham Hotspur. Van Eyck, at this moment is playing in his role in that centre back. Player like Virgil van Dijk, is not going to sit down and allow, the likes of Van de Ven to play. He's a skipper, he's the leader at the back, he's everything. Yeah, he's the one that have the experience, and I think it's a good option. I remember, I think it was a World Cup. I remember if it was 2014 in Brazil, where the Germans won that World Cup with a makeshift left back. I think it was it is. At that time he was playing, I think, for Schalke. If my memory serves me right. But Germany have done it in quite a few years. It is was playing at left back for Germany. So with Van de Beek, is such a talented player. Blessed with a lot of pace. I probably think he's probably the quickest player on the pitch. Yeah, he probably is the quickest player on the pitch at this moment. So let's see, man. Let's see if he can get down that left hand side enough. And with the likes of Cody Gakpo out on that left hand side, sometimes drifting in again, he will have the license, to come inside a lot, especially with the defensive purse of Van de Ven, on that left hand side, the recover that he have in him as well. He likes to recover. The recovery of him getting back in times, it's very good, because look, even if you get a head start, ahead of him, it's just the pace of how you're going to recover and deal with that challenge. Probably get unstuck a foot in and play that ball outside, or get a toe in to put it in one of the favor where one of the Dutch boys can, control the ball again and move on, and keep possession of the game. So you see on this right hand side in it's Dumfries. So I just think it's a well balanced Dutch lineup. And if you ask me, you always are going to have Frankie de Jong that's just going to sit deep. He's going to control the tempo. You're not going to get too much from him of running the channels, running with the ball. You need someone that's just going to keep the ball game tick right over in that midfield. The job for anyone in that midfield who's going to be the runner, who's going to be the box crusher. The box crusher will be the city man in the midfield, Reinders, Gravenberg, he's going to be that player, going to have to run a lot with the ball. So if they can, figure out things and play to their strength and complement each other on this game, I think this Netherlands team have a good way to go. But when you look at the chance that Marlon missed, a player in such rich grain of form at this moment, for AS Roma, moving from Aston Villa, in the winter period, and he's just loving life at this moment, and a Piero Gasparini in the Rome City as well. So let's see, if they can create at least one more big opportunity. But that's the issue now, and it's Japan and the break where it was just so unlucky. Yeah, it was just so unlucky from the Japanese team. That's how quick they can break for you. And it only takes them just a few touches to get deep in your defensive third. Yeah, just look at how the Netherlands gave up possession and the Japanese player picked their pocket. Look at how quick they get up that pitch. That's a sign of Netherlands must be careful, losing the ball, in their mid third or defensive third, because this Japanese team, they're so quick in their gameplay, but still 0-0. We are into the 40th minute now at this moment, where it's just less than under 5 to go before we know how much added time will it be. And wherever you streaming on, wherever you guys watching as well, we're streaming on different multiple platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, which is X as well. Yeah, don't forget to support the account that you streaming. That I keep saying streaming. Don't support, the stream wherever you are at this moment. I really appreciate it. You give us a follow and subscribe to any of those YouTube channel as well. So if you want to go out and support, the Nick and Dan, YouTube YouTube channel. It's there on YouTube, the Nick and Dan, where you get some very good podcasts and some of your latest breakdown and reaction of what happened, over the course of this World Cup and moving forward in the sports of the globe as well. And also, go and see, it's very close again by the Japanese team, in yeah, so close again, man. Yeah, you look at that, man. It's almost just inches away from that near post. Yeah, inches. That ball went over head of Dumfries. Just Dumfries and Somerville was on that back post. Yeah, just look at all this Japanese team is just crawling their way right back into the game by having a bit of a respite position deep into the Netherlands half as well. So warning signs, from the Japanese team. Warning signs. Here goes the Japanese possession of the ball at this moment. Let's look at how much possession would change at this moment. So we are just 44 minutes in, and a Japanese player is currently down at this moment. Not seeing who is that player at this moment. That's the first time, that's the first time. Is it Kubo? That was the first time seeing someone fell on the ground and have a bit of a respite, but it's a free flowing game, it's an attacking game, and it's almost again by the Japanese. Woof! So close again, man. So the last two real big moments, yeah, half decent chance in this half, it's all from the Japanese team, and it was a wonderful ball. It was a wonderful ball, and it was Ueda. Yeah, it was Ueda, the Feyenoord man who actually got that shot. Someone who played 31 games in the Eredivisie League and scored 25 goals. It's a remarkable season for him as well. Wondering if this time will be the move for the Japanese player to get in more of a tougher higher league, playing against more high quality teams. And I think the move probably will come this campaign, for Ayase. Yeah, so let's see. Japanese players have quite a few players playing around in Dutch league and the Eredivisie League as well. They will be well known about the system of what the Dutch has farmed over the years as well. Coached by one of the veteran player in the past who have won or helped to win, that Euro for the Dutch team as well late in the 80s, Ronald Koeman. Someone who also would have played in the 1994 World Cup for the Dutch team right here in the US. So he was familiar with all these conditions. But let's see if all of this, really can help. At this moment they are in the Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. You call it Dallas. So I think the Japanese team is closing out the game, very well. If you ask me, yeah, I think they are closing out the game very well. I think, looking at the last few minutes now, they are more into the Netherlands half, but at this moment it is the Dutch team, on that left hand side, with Cody Gakpo and Lang, trying to do something to create. And it's the 11 players that on the pitch for the Dutch team, pitching tense deep into the defensive third of the Japanese team. Let's see, what they can create. It's Somerville getting it wide back out on that centre back side with Virgil van Dijk, and it's Cody Gakpo coming up against Doan. It's more getting back, from the wing to the centre back to the midfield. Frankie de Jong. Now the defensive line has split where Van Eyck is up right on that right hand wing back side. De Jong in his deep into his midfield third as well, where he's partnering and more in line with Virgil van Dijk. So again, the Netherlands team is stretching. They're flinging a lot of players forward as well. So let's see. Ooh, almost Rennes finding Malan in that box, almost a bit, just not enough to pass the Japanese goalkeeper. Suzuki at the end of it right there, and it's half-time whistlers, and it is the first half of the first 45 minutes, and it's the Japanese team 0, Netherlands 0 at this moment. So each and everyone, watching the stream at this moment, I'm just asking for just a few refreshment break, and I'll be back in just a few. Yeah, so I'll be back in a drift. Don't leave. I'll be back. So back on stream again. Welcome back to the viewers as well, across all the platforms as well. Really appreciate you guys being here. So very optimistic, if we can get some goals, very optimistic if we can get some goals. As I have some stats, for you guys as well. But before I go any further, and it almost a goal from the Dutch team straight at the kickoff from the second half. Almost just about when we go into a bit of a statistics talk as well with you guys. But it seems like they're a bit more quicker out the blocks. It seems like they have a little bit more pep in their step in the second half. But this Japanese team is pushing them away from their defensive third. But as I was saying, man, yeah, I'm looking at the last World Cup, cycle where these two teams were in, Netherlands went to the quarterfinals and Japan. They lost out versus Croatia. Yeah, they lost out versus Croatia in the round of 16. But looking at the goals where the Netherlands scored, 6 goals come in the second half for Netherlands, 2 against the Senegal team, 1 against the Qatar team, 1 against the US men's national team, and 2 goals in the second half versus Argentina. And those 2 goals scored in the 83rd and the 101 minute. That was a way goal as well. And for the Japanese team, 4 goals scored in the second half for them, and they combined 5 goals in the entire campaign of last cycle. So you're looking at the Japanese, only 1 goal they scored in that first half. So I'm very optimistic to see if we can get something. But 6 out of the 10 goals that the Dutch scored of last World Cup all came in the second half, and that would be 60%. And the Japanese, 80% of their goals all came in the second half. So let's see if we can get goals, from these two teams. And you look at this Japanese team as well. They scored 50 plus goal through the qualification round of their regional tournament as well, coming up to the World Cup in Asia. And the Dutch have relatively scored a lot of goals, where they have over 2.5 goals per game in their qualification round. So again, very optimistic to see if we can get some goals, in this World Cup for these two teams. Which teams will score first? Yeah, which one of these teams will score first? That would be the big one. Yeah, as we are yet to get a 0-0 draw in this World Cup, as the closest game comes to a 0-0 draw. That was the game yesterday, was 80 versus Scotland in Massachusetts. We have 4 draw games, so far. 3 it's 3 draw games so far, Bosnia, Swiss game, and the Morocco game, and all games rest of that is all W's for the team. So let's see if this game will be the first 0-0 in the column of the World Cup. Yeah, game balance right back out again, as this Japanese team looking to counter attack and what this Netherlands team's really push at them in the first minute of the second half. But it seems like Frankie de Jong seems a bit more of energy, in his legs, where he's really pushing his team upwards in deep in the Japanese half as well. And it's Gakpo, with some pace out on this left hand side. You cannot get past down the number 10 for the Japanese team. And it is a free kick, coming the Netherlands way as well. The Japanese have lots to deal with. Not the, and it's a goal, man. And it is, and the Netherlands have scored, Denzel Dumfries. And it was a wonderful cross into the box. Yeah. So Japanese team is 1-0 down, then let's see if we'll get this one. See, it's crazy. I thought it was Dumfries, but it's Virgil van Dijk. Yeah, it's the skipper. Is the skipper get it? The first goal of the campaign for the Dutch, and they're up and running. The boys in orange. The boys in the orange are up and running at this given moment in the FIFA World Cup. Let's see how that one get in. And there's no offside on that one. There's not an offside on that one. It was a wonderful cross from that right hand side. It was pitch perfect. Couldn't place any better by the El Capitano, Virgil van Dijk. Suzuki has been looking behind him, cannot reach. It was just 2-inch perfect inside of the post, where that ball was too clever in to Virgil van Dijk. We just steered that one into the back of the net, and the Orange Army is going wild in the stadium at this given moment, where they packed up and jam packed in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Wow. So lots to take in, as I just said, there should be some optimistic for goals, as these two teams have lots of goals scored in the last World Cup, during that campaign as well. And they surely right make history repeat itself. Another second half goal again for the Netherlands team. Yeah, he's way onside. No offside there from the Dutch player. So inch perfect. As the next game, yes, the next game coming up will be a massive, massive, massive one as well, where Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire will take on Ecuador in the showdown of Group E. Let's see if one of those teams will match that 7-1 trashing that the Germans gave to the Curacao. It would be very hard to replicate something any close with a scoreline like that, but with two even match team as well. What I've seen in the last World Cup, where Ecuadorian team was up against the Senegalese team as well. Yeah, they were right in it. So we're looking at where fixtures concerned, between the last time an Ecuadorian team play an African team in the World Cup, where Senegal won that game 2-1. Yeah, was a penalty by Ishmael Sarr and Koulibaly with the game win moment right after Caicedo equalized in the 67th minute for the lottery, the South American team. So let's see what will happen later from now. That will be in just shy under 2 hours from now. Ecuador will kick up versus Cote d'Ivoire from Africa, the team that have some very young, promising player. The player like Amad Diallo, Diomande, have these very good youngsters, will be on show. Also, looking at Moses Caicedo, Paez. So many young players will be in that game as well, trying to make a future of themselves in this World Cup. But as we are edging closer and closer to that 60-minute mark, getting into the last 60 minutes of the game, it is the Netherlands who have the upper end on this Japanese team, where the Japanese team doesn't really look promising as yet. Still patient, still calm. It's still very compact and understanding what they are doing at this moment. But at some given point, they have to come out of their shell and attack. A lot of people have this Japanese team to go the distance as an underdog team at this moment, where they really did well last World Cup. They tapped that zone with Costa Rica, Germany, and Spain, but didn't manage to get past a Croatia team who went on to beat Brazil in the quarterfinals and penalty shootout as well. So let's see if this Japanese team really can make amends of themselves in the last 35 minutes plus extra time in as well. So let's see. Lots of time left, for this team to really organize and come up with a game plan to see if they can withstand all this attack coming from this Netherlands team, as Somerville is threatening down that right hand side once again. Kind of ran into the signboard up. Seems like he's a bit uncomfortable with. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he'll be okay. He'll be fine. But and it's another. I don't think it's another set piece. Is it this? As you can see, that referee cam, very good header, very steering on that back post from Virgil van Dijk as well. And it's the Japanese as hit the net again. So people will promise there will be lots of goals, and there will be lots of goals coming into the second half as well. The Japanese team has hit the mark. They equalize. Yes, very good goal as well. Let me see, get my who got the last touch on that as well. Yeah, but yeah, the Japanese have equalized. It took what? Just around 6-7 minutes, before they equalize. Lots of goals, man. As I said, man, this Japanese team will be calm. They will be patient. They will not be too giddy of the opportunity will not come. Yeah, it will not come. And it is the man that is wearing the number 13 jersey. Who is that? Is Nakamura. Yes, Nakamura, the man that's playing in the French Liga for Reims. Stade de Reims. He got that go-ahead goal, equalizing the game for the Japanese. And it is 1-1, golazo. But let's see, there's a bit of a controversial point. No, I think Maeda is not. Yeah, Maeda is on our side. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that is an offside. Yeah, Maeda is on offside. I think the player that played Maeda onside is probably Vaneka. Is it Vaneka out on that left hand side? This is Van der Ven. Yeah, Van der Ven played him on. So he's on, man. So it's 1-1. Game is on. Yeah, the game is on. The game is on. Each and everyone streaming at this moment. Wow. As I brought out that stats about the strong second half that these two teams can have, we see Nakamura with a fantastic shot outside the 18-yard box. It's just crazy. You see, the world of football has been playing where so many long throws, and there's another cannon will come into the box of the Japanese as well, where Dumfries is out on that right hand side. Yeah, it's a bit more loop in the air, but the referee called that one off. It's Taniguchi with Van der Ven holding each other. Japan is trying their best to get that second goal. I think the next goal might will go on and win this game. I think the next goal that the team score, will more looking at the goal that will give them maximum 3 points in this Group F encounter, with Tunisia and Sweden left to square off in the last game of the day as well. The Blue Samurai is looking to defend this one, and it's the Japanese team looking to break. Quick how they can attack in the transition, and it was just a moment, for a better decision where get that ball wide left. Where I think that should be a yellow card for Somerville as well. As I'm looking on, we are just over that 60-minute mark where this game locked in 1-1. I believe the next goal will win this game. As I strongly believe the next goal will win this game. You can still showing that ball hit by Nakamura did not take a touch by Maeda as he skipped past it. He was played onside by Van der Eyck out on that left hand side as well. I think this is it for this game. I'll be very surprised if there's another goal score. And it's Somerville hit the back of the net. That is it. So the Dutch up again for the second time in this Group F encounter. Can the Japanese team equalize? Will they find an equalize? Is it the game winner by Somerville? I mean, that's a wonderful play from Ryan Gravenberg in the midfield. If he can get, those half turns and, get some people in again, you're wondering that ball, kicked by Somerville on his left foot, you're wondering if that should have been a bit more of a save by, Japanese goalkeeper. You're looking at that, where was it a mistake? I need more replays on that as well to see how close he was to the ball. But again, wonderful play, from Ryan Gravenberg in the midfield. Really, control the ball at that time, ring rose around these Japanese players. Couldn't get nowhere close. But see how close the goal. I think it's a very good goal. The keeper, it's out of his reach. I think it's a very good goal. The keeper is out of his reach. That's a very good goal. Very good goal by Somerville. Very good goal. I think that's such a placement of a kick from the man that who's playing for West Ham at this moment. You think his career will be somewhere else in Europe, or should he stay in the Premier League? But another very good player as well. Very good goal. So 2-1 to the Netherlands team. Japan have a bit of job to do again. They're going to have to find it the hard way once more. Yes, can Nakamura come up with another killer instinct goal like that? So we are seeing all these 3 goals scored after the start of the second half. We know strong these two teams were in the last World Cup, where Netherlands scored 60% of their goals in the second half, while the Japanese team scored 80% of their goals in the second half. So we know much these teams like to be in the second half of games, especially the Japanese team when teams are a bit tired. when teams tend to make a little bit more mistake, to being a bit sloppy, but this Japanese team, is going to have to be really good, to get back one another to equalize the game. But right after, you're looking at Cody Gakpo just missed a brilliant opportunity, but he was offside. Yeah, he was offside. I think that was a lazy play from Cody Gakpo to be the last man wide, looking right across the line to be offside. He drift too much away from the Japanese players. A bit ball watching, but again, that's something needs to work on a little bit more. But you can see the plan, you can see the effort from this Japanese team and how they want to step up just a bit. As you can see Maheda is coming out and E2 is coming in as well. Very dangerous player. How much of a work he did last World Cup campaign as well for the Japanese team. Let's see if E2 can be the game changer at this moment. 67 minute in. The Japanese team is down 2-1 to this argument. Wow, such a fantastic shot from Kubo. But always rising over the bar. If he could keep that down a bit, it would have been such a fantastic shot by Kubo, but he hit that one over the bar. Yeah. Again, the Japanese team react very well, after going down 1-0. I think the referee, looking at there's a water break, it's an hydration break at this moment. So I think looking at it where the Netherlands team is really dominating in the middle of the park, I think when Ryan Gravenberch, collecting those balls in the pockets and manage to turn and twist on the Japanese team, I think sometimes there's just too much opportunity for him to make very good decision. As it's all on the player as well, creating his own space, by getting past Japanese players and create his own space around him where he can deliver a very good pass to his teammate, where someone can latch on and or someone can actually pass on that ball to someone else. But let's see, Reiners and Gravenberch playing very good in the second half in those midfield areas, one on the left, one on the right as well. But I think the Japanese team will need more than E2. I think looking at their bench at this moment, they have Machinio, a player that played for Borussia Mönchengladbach. They have Koki Ogawa that's playing in the Eredivisie League. But other than that, Nagatomo, he's still there, at the age of 39, still going strong. Now of these days playing for FC Tokyo. Tanaka, can they do very good with a Tanaka presence in the midfield where he can help to create something? I'm not sure. They need something dynamic up front, yeah. As Maeda, struggle to get in the game. If you have a player, like the quality of of a Maeda, someone who has scored loads of goals, for Celtic over the last 3 campaigns as well, struggle to get into the game, struggle to find a rhythm, then you're going to have problem, because there's replacement, but the quality is not matching up, where you're taking off a quality and bringing on a quality where is much better, which sometimes it's not all of these teams have options like that. So let's see what will be the next strike move for the Japanese coach, who I think is very experienced at this level. Someone who has been around since 2018. Yeah, he's been around since 2018. So you have 3 World Cup cycles, in his 2 World Cup cycle in his last campaign and this campaign as well. So Memphis Depay is getting on, Timber is getting on as well. And who is that man? Is it Weghorst? That's not Weghorst. That is it? Trying to see, is it Flecken is getting on? No, Flecken is the goalkeeper. Trying to see who is coming on. It's Reiners coming off, Somerville coming off, Marlan is off as well. the pie Uku Miners, is on, and Timber is on as well. So there's a few changes in every department. The midfield, this is not what Japan like to see. Player like Kubo is down a bit for a moment. How long will he stay on the ground for? But yeah, last 20 minutes in, we need to see, I think, a bit of a flourish of a change for this Japanese team. Else, tired legs will kick in at some point. Let's see what this triple change will do. It's more of controlling the game. Coop Miners is in as well. So it's all about, getting hold of this midfield. You see, them taking out Somerville is out, Marlan is out, and Reiners is out, and then you have a few players. So it's more of taking control of this game rather than playing loose ball and lose the game, making mistakes. So it's more of strengthening that midfield as well by Coop Miners in. You're not giving any way through the middle of their spine, as the Japanese team going to have to find a way. Is either going down, on either flank where Van de Ven, one of the quickest player on the pitch. Dumfries, arguably probably one of the best fullback in this game as well. So it's going to be difficult at how this Japanese team will pick their time to go forward. Not many real clear attacking threats and clear cut chances provide in this game from them. Ricardo Cody Gakpo is having a bit of a field day, in the second half, cutting inside a lot. This time he's onside as well, staying offside. Watanabe, Doan, and Kubo is coming off at this given moment. Intriguing. That's very interesting, to see those two players, those three players coming off, especially Kubo looking a bit threatened in the first half, but kind of look a shot off himself in that second half. But again, fresh leg is important, and how this Japan team, play as well, likes to do a lot of running, like to play a lot of, transition game as well. So let's see if this will be well and likely the last real chances for these players to get on the pitch and to create something for the Japanese team. So Doan, Kubo, and Watanabe is out at this moment, and Tomiyasu Ogawa is in. And Sigawara is also in as well. Yeah, so the Japanese team is well searching for a big moment in the game, but I think it will take a lot of time to do so as well. That's a poor cross. Yeah, Japanese team, a bit of a nice reaction as well. Looking at them trying to get back into the game. I did call it where I was saying that the third goal in this game might as well go on to be the winner. Whereas it will be very difficult, to see another goal by the Japanese team as they don't really show that real attitude of, they really can create big moments, you know, on a regular in this game. Yeah, I get what I'm saying. So I think that goal, man, that Somerville scored, I think that easily could be the last dagger in the straw for the Japanese team. Can be curtains. But at this point so far, after the water break, Japanese has been a bit more worthy as well, knowing exactly what they want to do. I mean, that's a comfortable save, from Verbrucken, the Brighton goalkeeper as well. But the Japanese team is really coming, a lot more than how they did previous before the hydration break. So the seems that the hydration break they kind of work out and figure out a way on how they're going to attack this Netherlands team as well. Seems like they are picking their moment and how and where they need to attack. But the last thought on that, I think that was a half decent chance. So I mean, so far, let's see the statistics. I think the Dutch have somewhere around six shots on goal to the Japanese who have just around two. I think I only see two shots that they took. You can see, more substitutions as came in the last couple of seconds for the Netherlands team as well. Getting all those substitutions out, getting fresh legs on. Yeah, probably seeing a bit more of this Japanese team that, at some given point, they're going to attack, they're going to defend, Also, they're going to look to stay compact, but they all need to take risk. They're in, they're into the last 10 minutes. Also, depends on how much extra time they do get. But let's see, if they can really put them foot down on the gas. Game kind of a bit looking a little bit sloppy, to be honest. But the Japanese team, slightly, edging the game more in their favor of being a little bit slightly. I want to be a dominate, but it's going to be tough as the top stats ball possession is still doesn't really move. With some of the ball that the Japanese player has been possessed as well in the last couple of minutes. But let's see if that will change. But they need to bring that numbers down a bit so they can control more tempos. Also, control their own philosophy, and also, you also want to control your destination.